Hello and welcome to the GLHF YouTube channel. Once again, I am the Dave Breens, and today we've got just everyone in here, including Kirk McKean,
Yeah, boy!
Ryan Woodrow,
Dogma balls.
Stoyan,
Hey.
and Ollie.
Hi.
How are we doing today, team?
Good.
Good.
Stoyan's bad.
Great. Playing some Dogma.
Dogma balls.
He's
Right.
dogging.
That's a good one, Dave.
Thank
Good
you,
job.
Ryan. Thank you.
Top tier.
I worked on that all night. I
Yeah.
did.
That
All
was-
right.
You worked on Dogma balls all night.
Good game, is it? Good game, is it, everyone? All right, let's figure out where everyone is.
Can I just start? I want to say something.
No.
a bit-
Hold on. You quiet.
No.
Ryan, where are you in the game?
I'm at the Sea Temple.
Good stuff. Ollie, where are you at in the game?
I'm at the second major city, whatever that's called.
Stoyan, where are you at?
Still super early, like 15 hours in, and still in the first capital.
Fantastic. All right, Kurt, go ahead.
I have played almost 80 hours of this video game, and I want to say that it might be one of the best video games ever made.
Yeah?
It might be. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start there then. Why?
It's good, isn't it?
Oh, it
See you
sure
later.
is. Yeah. And you see, I always said we should keep these things short. Just do the introductions, say whether the
Yeah.
game's good or not, and call it.
No, do you know what it is? I think a lot of it is down to that one save file thing, and people are going to complain about that. But every little decision you make, it has weight, like because you know that it's just going to save, and that decision's just there now. Like, and the thing is, it blends the quest with like the mechanics. Yeah, so a lot of quests can just be solved by picking someone up and dumping them in front of someone else, or like attacking someone. Like it doesn't say, oh, choose this dialogue option or this one. A lot of the time it says do something, and then you do it, and then the game says, and you got to live with what you've just done, and that will have consequences way down the line in the game as well. Like it's not the best written game by any means. It's definitely not the best acted game, but like mechanics wise, it's probably the best action RPG I've ever played.
Yeah. Go on, Ryan. Hit me with it.
I think the one save file thing is helped by the fact that I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be like the RPG that a lot of people compare this to. And I think the one save file works here where it wouldn't in BG3 because there's no element of chance in those things when you're picking dialogue options, when you're deciding what to do, Like it's all just, you do it and then it goes and the story goes in that direction. You don't have to worry about dice rolls or attack chances or stuff like that, and I think it makes for a much more it feels like it has a much more can't find the right way to put it. It has like a more forceful sense of direction in like each little quest in each little story, so when you first see that, okay, you've only got one save file, this is going to be a nightmare. It's like, no, it ends up not bothering you so much because your decisions have weight and you never feel like you're caught off guard by some bullshit you didn't know about.
Absolutely. I actually feel like, personally, when I play games, usually I only actually use one save file. However, Baldur's Gate 3 was one of the exceptions for that, where I made so many.
Oh, I'm
And
such
part of
a
me-
save scummer in BG3.
Yeah.
I feel like with Baldur's Gate though, you need a backup save in case it goes wrong.
That's the thing, though,
As
because
well.
I feel like things going wrong should be a part of your story, and I
No,
actually
no,
feel
no,
like the
I
game
don't
should
mean-
force you to.
I don't mean going wrong in that way. I mean going wrong as in like it bugged out and a quest didn't
Okay,
work.
sure, yeah.
know?
But yeah, no, I when I played BG3, when Last Light In fell, I was like, I'm going to stick with this decision and not reload, and I kind of wish the game forced me to stick with a whole bunch of other bad decisions I made later on, But on the action RPG front, one thing that I would love to say is that this is the most action game any RPG I've ever played is, because it doesn't feel to me like an action RPG in the sense of like The Witcher 3 where you mash the attack button and the sword gets swung. It feels like an action game in the sense where like it's weighty, kind of like Monster Hunter. Like you've got to really think about whether you're going to charge up an attack or you're going to get ready to dodge or sprint away, especially when you're up against those bigger monsters. And then when you've got like high-ranking vocations like Mystic Spearman and Thief, the level of mobility in addition to the amount of damage you can output, it feels so dynamic. And one thing I kept thinking, like, this is a game with a health bar and a stamina bar, but it feels so much more action-packed than a Souls game. Why is that? Simple reason, you recharge stamina if you just mash your basic attack. This means you can stay on the offense constantly, and it just feels so satisfying. It feels like an action game first, almost like a character action game where each vocation's a different character, and then it is an RPG second. That's
Yeah,
fine by
and
me though.
you're encouraged to switch between the vocations as well, right? Because they come with those like passive bonuses that you can unlock, and you
Yeah.
can switch them between all the different vocations. So you're encouraged to be a master of all, really.
Yeah.
And because of that, like I think that makes the game more interesting as well, because you're constantly changing how you play it and how you approach fights. Another thing as well, I'll pass the mic in a sec, but like the one save file thing I found as well, it makes you feel like you need to prepare more before you go out. So you get into this like routine, I'd say, of when you go to a town, you always make sure you stock up on everything. You get the better armor, you upgrade your stuff, you sell what you can sell, you put away what you want to put away for your crafting and stuff, so that you're light, ready for the journey. You make sure you've
you're
got
fully
a
rested.
Yeah, make sure you sleep at the inn. You've got a camping kit. You've made sure your vocations are up to date and everything. Then you go out, but the going out is quite dangerous as well. So you got to make sure you're going out in the day. If it's nighttime, it's a lot harder. It's really dark and quite terrifying. And even like little things like you don't fast travel really unless you place your own fast travel points around, which is really cool, I think, or take an ox cart. But there's like these other methods of travel, right? You've got these elevator lift kind of things that you crank, and
Yeah,
they take
in the
ages.
Batal region.
Yeah, there's some later as well, but they take ages. And if you get attacked by harpies on them, sometimes the harpies will just destroy it while you stood on it, and you will splat into the ground. Unless you're lucky and your one of your pawns is underneath you and catches you, which can happen as well. But that means you're a bad player because you didn't take your pawns with you, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Actually, I want to say that like I feel like a big part of this game is preparing and traveling. The no fast travel thing is obviously a purposeful decision because most of the time, most of the game, it is getting from A to B. But it's a game that doesn't take that for granted at all. It's not like you just have to go here because it's a fetch quest. It is okay. The quest is fucking survive on the way there.
It's
Feels
it's
good.
very impervious to the way games journalists have to play games, though. But it is like every little journey becomes an adventure. Because as I was saying this morning, like I had to go down the road to run to get a screenshot for a thing, and it's like, yeah, I ran into some wolves, ambushed me, and then while I was fighting the wolves, a griffin came down and attacked me, and then I ran away from the griffin, and then there were 2 cyclopses later down the road, and goblins, and every little journey becomes just this big adventure.
Yeah, and you can see people on the road fighting those monsters as well, and monsters fighting other monsters, or a griffin swoops down and picks up a cow or something. Like the world feels alive in a way that a lot of other games don't. And also, sorry, a quick one, but like it reminds me a little bit of Death Stranding in ways, because even the terrain, you have to think about it. Like when you're walking around, if you come off the path, you're like, oh, that slope's a bit sketchy. Because if you stand on a slope, you will slide down it and like fall off a cliff. And little things like that make you just more engaged in the game. Like you're not just pushing forward on a stick. You're like looking at the ground and where you're going to go and where you're going to, the best route through it, how you're going to get items. You're looking around for secrets as well as you go. So everything is like designed to keep you thinking as you're moving through the world.
Ollie, hit me. Come on.
Yeah, so I think like the comparison to like Monster Hunter, I think is a good one, because Monster Hunter does have that kind of like prepare and then hunt kind of gameplay loop, and this is that in a much more organic way. Where like you can just like go out with the gear that you've got, with the level of preparedness that you have, and like hope for the best. But like realistically, you're gonna need to prepare, and you're gonna need to think about what you're bringing. And because you can like switch vocations, which obviously switches your weapon as well, because there's only one weapon type per class, you do have to think about like even if you don't know what you're going to encounter, you have to think about how you're going to encounter them. And that, like, with the range of enemies, because there's not like a huge amount of enemies that you come across. Like, it's a fairly small pool of enemies overall. But like, you're constantly having to think about how you're going to approach any possible enemies. Because like, if I'm walking from A to B and I come across like a Cyclops, if I'm spec'd up as a thief, I can probably get through that all right. But like, if my pawns aren't in a good place and I'm a mage and all I can do is fire off spells every now and then, that becomes a much more difficult process. So yeah, I think in that regard, it is sort of just a very sort of organic Monster Hunter kind of experience. And like, I enjoyed the first game, but like, it took me 4 or 5 tries to actually like get into it. Like, I bounced off it really hard. And a lot of that was just because I was playing it like any other action RPG. And you just can't do that with Dragon's Dogma. And the same is true here, but I think it's a much smoother transition into what you're expected to do. Because that was like the biggest issue with Dragon's Dogma 1, is that like, you're thrown into the world and you know nothing. It does not make any effort to teach you anything. Here you kind of have like a little bit of build up before you're on your own. So yeah, but I mean, it's really good in that like, it is all, a lot of people use the term like emergent gameplay, where players are creating their own experiences, but like, I think just the systems alone in Dragon's Dogma 2 lend themselves well to that very, very well.
It forces you to constantly think about that stuff as well, because obviously the fact that only your main pawn levels up while you're on the road, that it means that at certain landmarks every now and then, like, you have to throw your other 2 pawns away and like pull new ones in. And if you're not at a grand one where you can't like pick and choose who you get in the rift, you then have to respec you and your main pawn around what other classes you get. I mean, it's usually sorcerer because everyone's pawn seems to be sorcerer, but it's I do definitely like how it forces you to keep thinking on your toes, change tactics, all that sort of thing.
I'll say as well, before we pass the mic to Stoyan, later on in the game, I think the preparedness even comes to the fore a little bit more, because you've got a lot of monsters that are like different versions of the same monster, or that you like need holy magic to defeat them and stuff. So at the minute, I'm carrying like 3 different types of daggers with me, just to make sure that whatever I come across, I'm ready to deal with it. And obviously, you can't switch equipment mid battle either, so you need to see it from a distance, swap to the right daggers, and then go in. So like, you need to take notice of what you're encountering and what works against them as well, which I think is really cool. Stoyan, is there anything that sticks out for you?
Yeah, for me, it's mostly about the uniqueness of everyone's experience, and how each of us has had a completely different playthrough. And even if, when I try to retrace my steps, just for a simple guide, just because I did the first thing at night and then I had to redo it during the day, it's completely different enemies, completely different encounters, and a different story. And this also, has you to think about and strategize how you approach your journey from A to B again, because of those variables. Just a simple mechanic like the day-night cycle that introduces a lot more depth and variety, and no 2 playthroughs are the same,
Mm-hmm.
just because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, that's
go on, Ollie.
I was gonna say, like, that's something that like we've noticed a lot in like playing this and guiding this as well, is that like all of us have done things in just completely different ways, and I feel like every single day somebody has like come into our group chat and been like, hey, if you do this you can do that, and everybody's like, wow, I had no idea. And that's like, it keeps happening, and it has happened basically since we got the game up until like even today. Like, we're still learning how you can do things. Like,
Kirk didn't
a
know
week
you
in.
didn't have to spend all your money in Batal to sleep in the inn.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got access to the house you can buy for the price of 3 nights in that inn. Like, after I'd already bought 2 nights in the inn, but as you said, there's another inn around the corner that's much cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say as well, like towards the end of the game, me and Dave have got to like the end game now. I won't spoil it, obviously, but oh my god, it does something that I've never seen a game do before, and it blew my mind a little bit, to be honest. I've told Ollie about it as well, and Ollie was like, "What the hell?" It's amazing, right, Dave?
Yeah. The Monster Hunter comparisons really. I keep thinking about it the way going through the game. It feels like okay, Monster Hunter is an RPG. Let's be clear on that. But it kind of feels like Dragon's Dogma 2 is like what a lot of people think Monster Hunter is going to be before they play it. They think it's going to be more of like a big open world action adventure game where you're traversing the world and taking down big monsters, and it's not really. And then this it actually is that. God, it's good. And also, Ollie, you mentioned like making sure your vocations and stuff were good depending on the challenges you're coming across. Like just yesterday, I had to like go back to my last in save specifically to change my vocation because I was trying to level up a what's the two-handed guy
Trickster.
called?
Oh,
No.
Warrior.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I was trying to level up a warrior guy, and I was on like rank 5, and it was just way too slow for me. And then
I tried that. It's horrible.
yeah, and I got to a big enemy, and I was like, and I died really fast. I changed to Mystic Spearman, and I just won. I was like, there you go.
Warrior's a bit more fun once you've leveled it up a bit because you can get a skill where like if you press the attack button as you're like on the arc of a swing, you can immediately swing again. And I got really good at that while playing as Warrior, and I just became like this massive pendulum that just kept killing everything.
One thing I really like.
Go on.
Sorry.
Craig.
One thing I really like about the combat is the like how everyone's got like a balance metric hidden underneath their stats somewhere, and like a troll, for example, or an ogre, whatever they are. If they start like flailing around, if you hit them with the right attacks, you will just knock them over. Like there was a troll who's like tripping up and like flailing around. I just picked a rock up and threw it at the back of his head, and he just plopped on the floor, and then I just started stabbing him in the eye. It was brilliant.
You can run up to their feet and literally just like push them over.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Kirk's already mentioned this because of like how you traverse the world, like looking at the ground and like the good places to like use your sprint and stuff. Like just the fact that elevation, like you gain stamina standing still or walking downhill faster than you do walking uphill. Like this, and you move a lot slower walking uphill than you do going downhill. Simple things like that, in conjunction with like your weight mechanic and like your ability to grab and push and pull, and how all of those factors go together. It feels like those D&D stats that you ignore, except they're active constantly instead of in specific scenarios. Yeah.
I mean,
really,
like,
really good.
I got to the point because like I've been playing primarily as a mage, because I think that's a really, really fun class. This time it was not in Dragon's Dogma 1. But like one of the things that you can do as a mage is you can expend stamina to get more spell casts off and more quickly as well. But yeah, I found that like after a while I was like, well, I'm like running out of stamina so quickly now. Is it because I've gotten more powerful or that? But no, it's just because I was just carrying a whole bunch of shit, and then your stamina goes down faster when you're carrying a whole bunch of shit. Yep. And like, it's not something that you like think about because like if you look at a game like Skyrim, right, where like if you're carrying too much stuff, you are immediately aware of that. Here, it like it's always kind of happening in the background. But like
it's a sliding scale as opposed to just binary. It's like in Skyrim you're either over encumbered or completely fine. As where in this, it's more of a sliding scale. You can feel your performance slowly getting worse as you carry more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is one particular area where it actually encourages you to take off your gear in order to do a little platforming challenge, which is fascinating.
Yeah, because you obviously the lighter you are, the better you jump and stuff.
Absolutely.
And there's little mechanics that I didn't realize existed as well, like the fairy stones. We've talked a little bit about the fast travel, but you can put port crystals down and use fairy stones, which are a limited resource, to fast travel. Obviously, you can't do that all the time. You need to think about it. You need to think about where you place these port crystals as well, like to get the most out of the map, if that makes sense. Like I've got them in all four corners of the map, basically, just because it's easier to get around that way. But if you pick up an NPC and then ferry stone with them on your shoulder, they go with you, don't they?
Mhm.
There's like little mechanics like that. And I didn't even know until someone told me the other day that you can gift NPCs items. Like I must have missed the tutorial pop up or something, but there's a whole like system underneath of how much people like you as well,
Yeah.
which is just wild to me because I got through the whole game without realizing.
Yeah, there was actually like there's this as just like in the original game, there is something connected to your relationship with characters and how much you've interacted with them, and it decides what NPC will pop up in a certain moment. Gotta tell you, I didn't expect mine. I I haven't given out a single gift in this game, and maybe that's why it happened. But everyone, it's not the same as what happens in Dragon's Dogma 1, for clarity. But everyone can look forward to that.
Stoyan, I feel like we've not given you much room on this. So, is there anything you want to dig into?
Not much.
For fuck's sake.
I got
Oh, 5 people. 5 people's too many for one of these.
Thanks, Stoyan. Thank you. Shall we wrap it up then?
I just want to talk quickly about like one of the things that like it frustrates the heck out of me in Dragon's Dogma 2, but I also appreciate it deeply. Is that like it is not afraid to punish you for doing something absolutely fucking stupid. Like I shared that clip early on where I was like trying to jump from rooftops and I just like slipped off a slanted roof and died. But like there's a lot of moments like that where it's like you can tell like this is a stupid thing to attempt.
Mhm.
And then if you do it and it's successful, then like great. But like the game will not hesitate to just punish you for being an idiot.
Yeah, I like the NPCs, right? They can die, and then they
Yeah.
go in the morgue, and you can revive them. And Ryan was asking me why I threw a guy in the sea the other day, and it's because he was a racist, right? But I threw the guy in the sea, and the brine just delivers them back to the land again. It like swallows them up with these eldritch tentacles, and then they go back in the land. So I threw him in the sea. He appeared next to me, and because he appeared next to me, it pushed me into the sea. So yeah, the game just it just kicks you in the balls. Basically.
Yesterday I did a one-on-one duel with a character, and we were like on this like thin bridge, I suppose I would say. I won the duel, and after it, like you have an option to revive them with the wake stone. I was like, I'll do that. Why not? I have a few of them. The dude stood up. They were like, "You bested me in combat," and then as soon as the conversation finished, he took a step back and just went off the bridge. And I was there like,
that's a proper Oblivion moment.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. See, in mine, I brought him back to life as well, and he just sat down. I was
yeah,
like,
he
"Good
did.
lad."
Yeah, I did that. Did that combat section at least twice. Well,
He
3
turns
times.
up later as well if you do wakestone him.
I tried. I don't know if he's still alive anymore.
Check the morgue. It might be in there.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah, let's do it. Closing thoughts. Stoyan, give me some closing thoughts.
He don't want to.
I don't want to.
All right. Ollie, give me some closing thoughts.
I mean, I think Kirk wasn't lying when he said that it might be like one of the best action RPGs ever, because I think it may be. And I think there's a lot that Capcom can generally kind of learn from what they've been doing in Dragon's Dogma that they could apply to basically everything else they do. So hopefully they do learn those lessons. Because I mean, they're doing a great job already, but Dragon's Dogma 2 is like a whole other level.
Good stuff. Brian, what you thinking?
I'm thinking, when I think of like the fantasy RPGs and stuff that I really love that I constantly go back to and play, yeah, I think of Skyrim, I think of The Witcher 3, and Dragon's Dogma 2 is absolutely going to be added to that sort of pantheon in my mind, and it will certainly be, I think, like the definitive RPG of 2024,
Absolutely. Kirk, got something good for me?
I'm going to go on a rant.
Oh.
Right? A lot of people are going to start complaining about this game because of technical stuff, and it's the most boring conversation you could have about this game, right? Oh, it runs at 30 FPS on console. Oh, NPCs pop in when you walk up to them, and it's like, shut up. Like, honestly, it is. There's so many fascinating things about this game, and don't get wrapped up in all that. Oh, we measured the frame rate and it tanks a little bit in the town. Like, it does. It's true, but like, so fucking what? Like, you could go play Call of Duty at 60 FPS and it won't move, but like, you'll have a linear, boring, same game we've played for the past 20 years over and over thing. And this is just, it's doing something different, and it's trying a lot of things. It's a simulation in many ways, and that's heavier on the load, and that's the trade-off you've got to have, unfortunately. So suck it up and shut up.
No yellow paint anywhere.
There's no yellow paint.
True. Well, there you go. There you have it. It sounds like Dragon's Dogma 2 just might be one of the greatest 8 out of 10s of all time.
What the fuck,
Dave? If you give it 8 out of 10, I will fire you. There we go.
Thank you very much for listening.
That's your next. I'm going to be on Kotaku in action for that comment.